The British rock band that formed in 1996 that has been legendary from the start and never fails to stay true to themselves. This is Coldplay. Coldplay consists of 4 members: Chris Martin, Johnny Buckland, Guy Berryman, and Will Champion. Christopher Anthony John Martin, known as Chris Martin, is the lead singer and frontman of Coldplay. Although he is mostly known for singing, he also plays piano and acoustic guitar for many of their songs. He was born on March 2, 1977, in Exeter, Devon, England. Martin has 4 younger siblings and grew up in a musical family. In high school, Martin was in a band called the Rocking Honkies until he graduated to college. Chris Martin went to the University College of London studying Ancient World Studies, where he met the other 3 members of Coldplay. As a soloist, he has written songs and collaborated with other artists like Kanye West. Offstage, Martin is very dedicated to his fair trade work in places such as Haiti and the Dominican Republic. Martin's first serious relationship was with actress Gwyneth Paltrow, who he then married in 2003 and had 2 children, Apple, 14, and Moses, 12. After the couple's divorce in 2014, the two continue to raise their children together. Since the divorce, Martin has dated several people such as Jennifer Lawrence and, most recently, Annabelle Wallis. Jonathan Buckland, known as Johnny Buckland, is the electric guitarist in Coldplay. He was born on September 11, 1977, in Islington, London, England. Buckland started playing guitar when he was 11 years old. He attended the University College of London to study mathematics and astronomy. Upon meeting the other band members of Coldplay, he continued his studies while being in the band. Buckland is especially known for his amazing guitar solos, in which he tastefully adds sparse arrangements, motifs, and slides. Although he takes many solos, Buckland does not enjoy speaking in front of large crowds. Johnny Buckland and Chris Martin have been very good friends from the beginning. Buckland married Chloe Evans in 2009, had welcomed their daughter Violet in May of 2007, and their son Jonah in November of 2011. Guy Rupert Berryman, known as Guy Berryman, is the bass guitarist in Coldplay. He was born on April 12, 1978, in Kirkcaldy, Scotland. Guy Berryman began playing bass guitar when he was 16 years old and was part of a band called Time Out when he was in high school. Berryman attended the University College of London to study engineering, but then switched to architecture. When he joined Coldplay, he dropped out of college to focus on the band, but became a bartender. Berryman is the only member of Coldplay that dropped their studies in order to focus on the band. Berryman also plays bass in another band called Apparatic. In 2004, Berryman married his childhood sweetheart, Joanna Briston, and they had 1 daughter named Nico in September of 2006. The couple later separated, and Berryman is now engaged to Kesha Garrett. On the side, Berryman runs marathons and loves to run in the different cities that Coldplay tours in. He is also considered to be a shy member of the band. William Champion, known as Will Champion, is the drummer in Coldplay. He has occasionally sung vocals for the band, although all members have been background vocals at some point, and has sung lead vocals live for a set of songs on tour. He was born on July 31, 1978, in Southampton, Hampshire, England. As a child, Will Champion played piano, violin, guitar, and bass. Before he joined Coldplay, he was a member of a band called Fat Hamster. Champion studied anthropology at the University College of London. When he was asked to join Coldplay, Will Champion only played guitar but took up the challenge of learning drums for the band. Champion keeps the band together both musically and rationally. He is known for keeping everyone focused and for his sensible and valid ideas. Champion was the first Coldplay member to marry in 2003 when he married Marianne Dark. They had a daughter, Ava, in April of 2006, and fraternal twins, Juno and Rex, in May of 2008. The beginning of Coldplay started with one of Chris Martin's ideas. Martin wanted to find someone else to make a band with, and in 1996 he met Johnny Buckland at a bar, someone who had the same idea. The two 20-year-olds called themselves the Pectorals and tried to keep their band going with only 2 people, but soon realized they needed more members. Later in 1996, they recruited Guy Berryman and then Will Champion in mid-1997. The 4 members of a newly formed band gave themselves the name Starfish, but then finally changed it to Coldplay. Coldplay also met their manager, Phil Harvey, at the University College of London. Coldplay's career skyrocketed very quickly after they formed. Now, let's see how Coldplay's music evolves from this
bones sinking like stone is all that we fall for,
to this. Parachutes is Coldplay's debut album, released on July 10, 2000. However, they released their single, Yellow, first on June 26, 2000, and it reached number 1 in the UK and won a Grammy Award for Best Rock Song. The 10 tracks in this album are Don't Panic, Shiver, Spies, Sparks, Yellow, Trouble, Parachutes, High Speed, We Never Change, and Everything's Not Lost. This album began recording in early 2000. As it was the group's first album together, they had to work very hard to get their style the way they wanted it, liberating and at ease. During the recording sessions, they learned very much about how to overcome the initial stage of rush and stressful playing. The album art featured for this album is a picture of a globe taken with a disposable Kodak camera. Parachutes was dedicated to Will Champion's mother, Sarah Champion, who died from cancer in 2000. A Rush of Blood to the Head is the second studio album by Coldplay, released on August 26, 2002. This album was recorded from September 2001 to June 2002 and won Grammy Award for Best Alternative Album in 2002 and 2003. This album contains music with more prominent piano and electric guitar than their first album. The 11 tracks on this album are Politic, In My Place, God Put a Smile Upon Your Face, The Scientist, Clocks, Daylight, Green Eyes, Warning Sign, A Whisper, A Rush of Blood to the Head, and Amsterdam. The song Clocks won 2004 Grammy Record of the Year. Many of the songs on this album were inspired from the September 11 attacks in the United States, as the recording sessions began 1 week after the incident. The unique album art for this album is by Saul Sunsbo and was originally produced for a magazine. In the 1990s, an experiment with 3D scanning and printing machines was made, where a model painted her face in all-white makeup and was scanned with the 3D machine. The printed product went horribly wrong, but it was still published in the magazine. Chris Martin loved it so much that he approached the producers and asked to use it for their album cover. X and Y is Coldplay's third studio album and was released on June 6, 2005. The album was recorded from January 2004 to January of 2005. The 13 tracks on this album are Square One, What If, White Shadows, Fix You, Talk, X and Y, Speed of Sound, A Message, Low, The Hardest Part, Swallowed in the Sea, Twisted Logic, and Till Kingdom Come. Coldplay wrote 60 different potential songs for this album, but discarded 47 of them because they were not satisfied. They decided to wait 3 years instead of 2 to release another album after their second album because they thought that the public would start to get sick of them. After the release of X and Y, it was their biggest hit yet and quickly rose to be the best-selling album of 2005. It was the first time one of Coldplay's albums made it to both the US and UK chart. The album art is a depiction of the Bordeaux Code, an early form of telegraph communication. Viva La Vida or Death and All His Friends is Coldplay's fourth studio album and was released on June 12, 2008. It was recorded from June 2007 to April 2008 and was the first Coldplay album to be produced with a new producer, Brian Eno. Eno wanted to push the idea of every song having its own unique sound even further. The 10 tracks on this album are Life in Technicolor, Cemeteries in London, Lost, 42, Lovers in Japan / Reign of Love, Yes, Viva La Vida, Violet Hill, Strawberry Swing, and Death and All His Friends. Guy Berryman welcomed his first daughter right before the band recorded this album. The song Viva La Vida was the first Coldplay song to get number 1 in both the US and the UK, and later in 33 more countries. By the end of 2008, the album had sold 2,144,000 copies and won Best Rock Album in the 2009 Grammy Awards. The album art is the painting named Liberty Leading the People by Eugene Delacroix. MYLO XYLOTO is the fifth studio album by Coldplay and was released on October 19, 2011 with the same producer Brian Eno. The 14 tracks on this album are Hurts Like Heaven, Paradise, Charlie Brown, Us Against the World, MMIX, Every Tear is a Waterfall, Major Minus, UFO, Princess of China, Up in Flames, A Hopeful Transmission, Don't Let It Break Your Heart, and Up with the Birds. The album tells the story of two protagonists living in a dystopian and oppressive world who meet through a gang, fall in love, and escape together to portray the theme of love conquers all. Entering the new decade, Coldplay had in mind that they wanted to produce music that was bigger, grander, and more optimistic than their previous music. There were mixed reviews from the public. Some thought it to be overproduced, while others loved it because of its uplifting nature. The songs from this album were originally planned to be two separate albums, but the band liked the mixed styles and decided to join them together. Paradise was the song from this album that pushed them the furthest out of their comfort zone with their newer, grander sound. Ghost Stories is the sixth studio album by Coldplay, was recorded throughout 2013 and 2014, and was released on May 16, 2014. The 9 tracks on this album are Always in My Head, Magic, Ink, True Love, Midnight, Another's Arms, Oceans, A Sky Full of Stars, and Oh, Fly On. This time round, the band was looking to make an album that was more stripped down and lyrical than the previous high-energy album, MYLO XYLOTO. Chris Martin states in an interview that the message of the album is how you let your past events, your ghosts, affect your present and your future. You can either let them drag you down or you can learn from them. The whole idea of the album was inspired by Chris Martin and Gwyneth Paltrow's split in 2014, and Martin decided to be honest in his music about his feelings of heartbreak. This is a contrast to the majority of Coldplay's very uplifting and energetic music in the past. Ghost Stories was nominated for Best Pop Album at the 57th Grammy Awards, and by the end of 2014 had over 3.7 million copies sold worldwide. Chris Martin's children, Apple and Moses, are featured in the 9th track of the album, Oh Fly On. A Head Full of Dreams is Coldplay's 7th and final studio album, recorded from late 2014 to mid-2015 and released on December 4, 2015. The 12 tracks in this album are A Head Full of Dreams, Birds, Hymn for the Weekend, Everglow, Adventure of a Lifetime, Fun, Kaleidoscope, Army of One, Amazing Day, Color Spectrum, Up and Up, and Miracles. By November of 2017, there were over 6 million copies sold worldwide. The music in this album is very different from the previous album. The band wanted something colorful and energetic, like it is reflected in the album art. The shape in the center of the album cover is called the Flower of Life, and the album was announced by simply pinning up this flower on posters around the world with the words December 4 printed underneath. Many Coldplay fans recognized it immediately from a shirt Chris Martin had worn. Coldplay's last worldwide tour took place from 2015 until 2017. There have been many mixed reviews of this album from the public. Some believe that Coldplay lost their unique sound and created a cliché pop album that any other artist would be capable of. Others say it was an album that is definitely uplifting, gains more meaning every time you listen to it, and that Coldplay should be applauded for how hard they have worked to get where they are now. Outside of the 7 incredible albums that Coldplay produced, they have created much more music before, after, and in between. Before becoming widely famous, they made 2 EPs, The Blue Room and Brothers and Sisters, in 1999. After releasing their last album, A Head Full of Dreams, Coldplay released another EP in 2017 called Kaleidoscope. Atlas, a song they wrote for the movie Catching Fire, was another huge success. Coldplay had collaborated with numerous other artists as well, such as the Chainsmokers in their song Something Just Like This. There is a large amount of songs that Coldplay wrote but never released in their albums, and have been released since then as singles, or have yet to be found. The band feels that their 7 albums are like the 7 Harry Potter books. They have worked so hard to get where they are, and they think of it as the finale and closing chapter of a story. Coldplay does not plan on breaking up the band, however, and will continue to play music together, whether or not they decide to make another album. The best way to see how much Coldplay has accomplished is to simply listen to their music. To get a small taste of the evolution of Coldplay, here are short clips from one song of every studio album.
Your skin, oh yeah, your skin and bones turn into something beautiful. Confusion never stops, closing walls and ticking clocks. Gonna come back and take you home. I could not stop. got you now, no singing. Lights will guide you home and ignite your bones, and I will try to fix you. So we rode down to the river where Victoria goes spray, for their curses to be broken. We go underneath the arches where
On and on,
and on and on and on. Once upon a time on the same side. Once upon a time on the same side in the same game.
now why'd you have to go? Have to go with the water on my flame. Could have been a princess to be a king. Could have had a castle on a ring. No, they let me go.
Body on my body. When the world means nothing to me. Another's arms, another's arms. When the pain just rips right through me. Another's arms, another. We had diamonds taking shape.
Coldplay has had an extremely successful career and have made a positive impact on the world. They have come a long way, and their journey through life has been reflected in their music. Coldplay has and will leave a legacy.
To explode.